Today, we're going to explore the fascinating narrative of Nimrod, an enigmatic figure whose legacy goes beyond the pages of the Bible. Join us on this epic journey, revealing the influence of this individual who, as described in the book of Genesis, was the grandson of Ham and great-grandson of Noah. His story is an intricate web of power, challenge, and mysticism. Before we go any further, remember to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications to be part of every discovery. As we enter chapter 10 of Genesis, we are introduced to Nimrod, highlighted as one of the first great leaders after the flood. His heritage is so rich and deep that it resonates with the stories of Babel and the assassination attempt on Abraham. But who was this individual who defied the heavens by building the Tower of Babel? Described as a mighty hunter before the Lord, he established his kingdom in Babel, Erech, Akkad, and Calneh, in the land of Shinar. This region was marked by great prosperity, but at the same time faced post-Diluvian challenges. With an audacious spirit, Nimrod not only founded cities, but also shaped a civilization. Nimrod's saga continues with his expansion into Assyria, where he erected monuments of civilization such as Nineveh, which became icons of progress, although paradoxically they also represented moral decay. These cities, steeped in idolatrous practices, reveal human complexity and the conflict between faith and ambition. The biblical accounts establish an intriguing parallel between the cities of Nimrod and the first foundations of Cain's lineage before the flood. These references transcend mere geography. They bear witness to humanity's first attempts to establish order in the post-flood chaos. The fertile land between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers promised prosperity, but also hid dangers in the form of wild animals, threatening the peaceful existence of the peoples. Nimrod, with his dark skin inherited from Kusi and his imposing stature, stood out as a protector and provider. He became an almost mythical figure, skillfully dominating and uniting his people against natural threats. Nimrod's influence was so far-reaching that even today his name evokes stories of courage and power. His reign, consolidated by his strength and hunting skills, became emblematic of the human yearning for security and social structure. Under Nimrod's leadership, the first organized societies emerged, giving rise to the concept of a unified kingdom under one monarch. This is the legacy of Nimrod, who went from a hunter to a king, whose name is synonymous with foundation and power. However, it wasn't just strength that made Nimrod a famous name. His sagacity in leading people and establishing an organized kingdom also played a crucial role.
This is a testament to Nimrod's avant-garde vision. Under his leadership, fortified cities were built, providing refuge and prosperity under the protective shadows of their imposing walls. Why be satisfied with dispersion when it is possible to achieve unity? That was Nimrod's philosophy. He not only proposed, but actually built fortresses, not just as a measure of protection, but as symbols of a kingdom that aimed for more than mere survival. Nimrod's aspiration was to leave an indelible mark on human history. The Bible immortalizes Nimrod not only as the architect of cities, but as the founder of an empire that would defy the heavens themselves, with the construction of the Tower of Babel.
An audacious act that has echoed down to the present day, at a time when the world was still recovering from the ravages of a cataclysmic flood. Nimrod emerged as a monument to human resistance, settling in Babel, Erech, Akkad, and Calneh, lands fertilized by the receding waters of the Great Flood. He built a kingdom recognized by the Bible as the first mentioned in its sacred scriptures. This kingdom was not only a mark of power, but also a testimony to human ingenuity and audacity. However, Nimrod's stature was not only measured by the extent of his territorial conquests or the prestige of his architectural feats. The scriptures warn us about the rebellious spirit of Nimrod, identified as a mighty hunter before the Lord. This expression, when seen in Hebrew, suggests connotations of tyranny. The term Gibor actually reflects the image of a tyrant, and the translation of Nimrod evokes the idea of rebellion. This historical figure, described by the Encyclopedia Judaica as someone who incited revolt against the divine, appears as a forerunner of idolatrous and degrading practices. In the dark pages of history, Nimrod is often regarded as the prototype of the Antichrist, embodying the opposites of monotheistic values. Scripture highlights his rebellious spirit, singling him out as a leader who defied divine norms. Tradition intertwines the narrative of Semiramis, Nimrod's wife, who, after his death, was elevated to divine status by the Babylonians. At that time, access to nobility involved sacrifices, and the accounts mention rituals that included human offerings, a dark tribute to guarantee privileges and favors. The cult of Molech, associated with the sacrifice of children by fire, generated divisions among the Babylonians, with some agreeing and others refuting, eventually resulting in the death of Nimrod. The consequences of these acts resounded through the generations, leaving a legacy of shadows and mysteries. In Nimrod's ancestry and the construction of the Tower of Babel, we find the primordial human conflict between vanity and transcendence. Flavius Josephus, the historian, suggests that Nimrod built the tower not just as a fortress against future deluges, but as an act of divine vengeance defying the heavens. This echoes the reason behind the original flood, as recalled in the book of Genesis. The persistence in building the tower was a reflection of human wickedness and rebellion, with Nimrod continuing this legacy of disobedience. He refused to recognize divine authority, convincing his people that their prosperity was only the result of their own actions, not of a higher power. Nimrod's pride and persuasiveness become a prime example of what happens when humanity moves away from a genuine connection with the divine. The biblical narrative urges us to reflect on the true source of our prosperity and influence in the world. The climax of the Tower of Babel story reveals a God who intervenes to thwart human plans. The confusion of languages imposed by the Creator is not just a punishment, but a course correction, showing that no human project, no matter how grandiose, can prevail over the divine will. The dispersion of languages and peoples serves as a powerful reminder of God's sovereignty over all things, highlighting that humanity's true strength lies in its ability to live in harmony with divine designs, rather than trying to supplant them. In the heart of ancient Mesopotamia, where flowing rivers outlined the destiny of emerging civilizations, Nimrod, the priest king of Babylon, ended his earthly journey approximately 15 years ago. Nimrod's dramatic end, narrated by legends interwoven with the scriptures, is marked by a macabre and symbolic act, the dismemberment of his body. This practice, echoed in the Bible in Judges 19:29 and 1 Samuel 11:7, resulted in the body fragments being distributed in different areas, an act of warning and dishonor, foreshadowing the dispersal of his legacy after his death. After Nimrod's death, his widow, the enigmatic Semiramis, ascends as ruler of the Babylonian throne. In her, mythology and history intertwine even more densely, proclaiming Nimrod as a solar deity. In the ancient courts of power, Semiramis skillfully transforms her sins, treason and adultery into myth. Her newborn son, Tammuz, is presented as the incarnation of Nimrod, initiating a cycle of divinization and immortality. In the fertile territory of Babel, later recognized as Babylon, the remarkable Sumerian civilization emerged before the Great Flood, coining history as the oldest known civilization. With a subsequent influence on Egypt, this civilization stood out for its rapid and advanced evolution in law, urbanism, writing, and multidisciplinary knowledge. This bears witness to human genius at the dawn of history. However, Babylon was also known for practices that future generations would condemn: idolatry, divination, enchantments, and various transgressions of divine law. The name of Nimrod and that of Babylon echo through the ages as symbols of moral and spiritual decadence. Its fame persists in various facets of cultures and mythologies around the world. Nimrod, whose echo can be found in heroic figures such as Gilgamesh and Hercules, permeates the collective imagination not only as a historical character but as an archetype of the hero who defies the gods. The stories in the Midrash, Jewish texts that explore biblical interpretations, mention his opposition to patriarchal figures like Abraham. Although the historicity of these encounters remains shrouded in mystery, this narrative of power, rebellion, and divinity highlights the extraordinary capacity of one figure to influence not only history, but also mythology and humanity's perception of the sacred and the profane. Nimrod, whether as a tyrannical monarch, god, or Antichrist, invites us to reflect on our own understanding of the divine and the complexity of human history. As we close this chapter of history, we are invited to meditate on the passages in the Bible that not only recount events, but also shape civilization, culture, and faith over the millennia. Its story is a window to understanding human ascension and its endless quests for meaning and power.